So all of that, be mindful also of your food prep and cut down on your waste, right? You want to take it in consideration. Don't buy more than you need. Don't have extra packaging. Be aware of all that kind of stuff. Shop with reusable bags, blah, blah, blah with that. And if you can, start updating your property to adjust to the changing climate in your region. Because as I said before, we are in climate change. It's not coming. It's already here. So we just have to decide how bad we're going to let it get. So protect your home from costly damage, but it's if you can afford it, obviously, and not everyone is in that. So some of the things you could do, and again, it's if it's relevant, if it's applicable, and if you have the means, new rain gutters to redirect water away from your home because we're going to be getting more intense storms. Metal roofs can protect against fires, although that's all relative because it really depends on the intensity and proximity of the fire, doesn't it?
Okay.
I'd say increase your homeowners insurance against natural disasters if you think you're vulnerable. Might be too late for the folks in Florida when it comes to the storms. And apparently, some insurers have stopped offering wildfire coverage in California. Like I said, it's spreading everywhere. It's not just Florida, right? It's spreading. Yeah. And the more tornadoes, the more floods, the more whatever, it's just going to keep growing. Everyone is going to feel it, as I said before.
I wanted to let you go with that, but that's kind of infuriating again. That's infuriating again because you can't.
You said it's going to drive up the prices. Yeah.
It's how can the insurers tell people? This is why I don't know. So it's infuriating until I know more. This is something I would like to look into now. But if you have a home in California, and we're not talking about like the wealthy people. Okay, let's just talk about because there's a lot of people who, whatever. There are normal people who live in California, all right, and you have a home that's in the path of wildfires, and your insurer says we're not covering that anymore. Has your government stepped in to say we would buy you out of this home? We will help you relocate.
No.
Oh, well, see, right. We scoff and we say,
you know the answer to that.
No, I don't know the answer to that because I'm saying how. And then here's the thing: insurers.
If they did, I'd be talking about it right now. I'd be like, but don't fret, folks, because the government swooped in. But Newsom handled it.
The thing is, insurance doesn't work without taxpayer money. Like the government helps insurance companies like exist. It's a cohesive like bonding thing. It's crazy for an insurer to say we are not going to insure homes, and the government is saying hey, you're SOL, even though we all have a hand in why it is that the insurer is not like the insurer should not legally be allowed to drop insurance for something high risk unless the government has said we are going to help people relocate. And then there's that, not a pro quo kind of thing, but there's that song and dance.
Well, it's not profitable anymore. And then what, they go under? I mean, but what do you say to them?
No, that's not, first of all, that's not how like fully works in terms of that. It's, they don't go under because they're insuring people that they can't afford to cover these policies. The government should be coming in to say, if you drop these insurances, then we need to help these people move. One or the other.
So you're saying you're saying the companies can leave, but then we're going to come in. Yeah, well,
they shouldn't legally be allowed to leave. No, first of all, no, because the way that we should write insurance is they should not be allowed to drop policy unless the government has some sort of secondary option. The fact that there is no secondary option and you're dropping policy means you're leaving people out in the lurch, and that is ridiculous. That shouldn't be allowed. That should legally be illegal to do something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would have to. I kind of hear what you're saying in that the government should not allow people to be homeless in that way if a disaster
but that's
strikes.
What you've done.
But I don't think you can. I don't think you can. I don't know enough about this, but I have a hard time believing you can just compel a company to stay. You would have to change
what we do.
The structure of the agreement. Companies. Like you would have to change something though. Like I don't know, you're going to insure, like, look at the size of some of these fires and they're just going to wipe out. I don't even wouldn't know. There's like thousands of acres. Like, what is that? How many houses is that? How much money is that to rebuild infrastructure and housing and all that stuff? And can a company afford that?
It's not about just what the company can. It's not like, all right, here's the thing, right? When we talk about school, okay, they get some sort of federal subsidies. So
you're saying that the government is going to subsidize the insurance?
No, I'm saying that they already have a partnership in terms of how the insurance industry operates. They're not just
I
out
don't know
there
the
as like
finances.
Tesla running
I can't
around.
argue this. I can't argue
Yeah.
this. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know the finances of the
Fair.
company. I don't know how they're making their money, what their margins are. Like, I have no clue.
All I'm saying is there's legality involved in how insurers and what insurers are allowed to insure and things of that nature. And all I'm saying is that if the insurance agency is saying that it's not like they're operating without government oversight or government knowledge in terms of what they are insuring and not insuring. So I mean, at some level, the government should be stepping in here. I mean, hopefully that's
I
happening. So
agree that at the end of the day, if your house burns down, you should get a new home.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happens, but we should be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. What, you're just out? You're like,
that's what I'm saying.
Like,
you're like,
what are we?
Yeah.
Like, how are we different than medieval Europe
at that point? Yeah, you're on your own. That's what I'm saying. That's such a vulnerability there, where you've had a home for God knows how long. I mean, it could be 60 years, 70 years in your family. And then one day you're just said, all right, we have no insurance because wildfires have cropped up, and
I lost everything in the flood. The waters reached the riverbank.
It's not even a matter of, well, yeah, exactly. It could be something like that. I'm just saying it's not even something that's happened yet. That's what's crazy to me. It's basically saying that because you are in a vulnerable place, your house happens to now be in a vulnerable place. This house you've had for 50 years now is in a vulnerable place. First of all, you've tanked the value of that house. How are you going to sell it? You can't. The way people usually get out of a house is by selling their house, and therefore they can take that money and that.
Is there government run insurance though? Because that's what you're proposing, and I don't know if that's the thing.
It's not everything is government run. I mean, everything at some level is government run. All I'm saying
subsidies,
is that there should be legality. All I'm saying is there should be a legal recourse to simply to make it so that your insurance company cannot drop you off of something that is very much a likelihood, and the government should come in to basically offer you an alternative, because you cannot sell a home that essentially will not be insured for the thing that is most likely to happen to it. That's crazy. As I'm saying, what is the value? Your home is basically zero. It's valued at $0.
But I think
at that point.
Yeah, I mean, and if you phrase it like that, but I think the and maybe this doesn't change your mind, but the word I would add to that is repeatedly. It's not that it's likely to happen; it is likely to repeatedly happen. And how many going to rebuild?
Well, it goes back to last episode where I asked, what is habitable? When does something become
I think
uninhabitable?
but I think you have to phrase it that way, because it's not that, okay, there was a fire or a hurricane. It is that they are getting bigger, more intense, more frequent, and
will eventually
they are damaging
burn down
more.
This home and will burn it down over and over again.
And I think that's a fair point for the insurance companies to be like, dude, we can't do it. We're out.
Sure. If you were in a situation where you were rendering someone's house in like the government then has to $0.
Yeah,
by doing it.
I get it that I'm not saying that I agree, because there's no human compassion element to that. I'm saying that I get it. Like, I get the business concern,
it's yeah.
Well, yeah, it is a human element for them.
No, it's
like
not.
That's what they're missing. They're missing that. Well, what does that decision mean for these people? And that's where the government needs to come in and compel that.
Well, I think it's worse, because I mean, it's not, again, I don't look at these things as humanitarian. I look at it as, all right, people are complaining about homeless population. There are drains on resources. Becoming homeless has a whole other host of issues with regard to someone being able to contribute to our society. There are knock-on effects. So it's not even like just, I mean, I guess.
So you're looking at it from you're looking at it from the economics of it, but the business doesn't care about that.
Well, it's not, if it's a for-profit business, of course, a for-profit, whatever.
But that's what I'm talking about. The humanitarian, the economics of your contribution to paying taxes doesn't concern the business. That's what I mean. So the only thing that would resonate with them is some humanitarian aspect of it, because they don't care that they're just going to negate your ability to send your kids to school and invent the next big thing. Like, that's not how they run their business.
No, that's what government's for.
And that's what I mean by that. That's the humanitarian aspect, because that's the only lever I think you could pull, other than government compelling them, because they care, because the government cares about exactly what you just said, which I think is a great point. Yeah. By the way.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think it's a really good point. I just don't think that the business care about that. I think government, or at least they should.
They should.
But you know why they don't? And I think that you would say the thing I'm about to say is because they just care about the next election cycle, and that economic payoff of rebuilding them and making sure they stay productive isn't going to pay off for a while.
Your
And
words, not
that's,
mine. You said it.
but that's what you would say, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's exactly what I would say. And then
Yeah.
I would add something about capitalism on top of it. But yeah, more or less.